Welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be roasting some coffee, enjoying some coffee, and I'm going to give you a quick update on what to expect over the next few days in terms of live streams. Today I'm doing this this coffee roasting on Just Chatting, just to see what this is like. Because with the coffee roasting, I just use a popcorn popper, and there's only so much I can say about it. And then after that, I always like to just talk about life and philosophy and things like that. So today we're going to be roasting coffee, talking about those things, and giving you a quick update on the rest of this week for the next streams that are to come. So if you're new to my channel, welcome, first of all. It's very exciting to have you guys here. I hope you guys enjoy the conversations that we have. I hope you guys enjoy the videos that we post. We are just enjoying drinks. We're enjoying roasting coffee, brewing beer, enjoying it all, and also every once in a while reviewing it just to, talk about all things beer and coffee. So, anyways, that's what we're doing today. Just a quick show of my setup so everybody knows what's going on. I'm going to try and do this slowly so you don't get sick. But we're using this popcorn popper. It's a Nostalgia hot air popcorn popper. I got it for $30 on Sweet Maria's coffee roasting website. And when you buy this for $30, you also get 4 pounds of free green beans to roast, and a little quick how-to. We got a funnel for putting the beans that are roasted into their containers, and a colander, or strainer I should say. We're using this to cool the beans at a faster rate, and then obviously a stir stick. So that's what's going on there today in terms of roasting. I'll go over the beans that we're going to roast here in a second, but just for those of you who were with me on the day that we brewed Gonner's German Pilsner, I wanted to give you a quick update on that. So here's in the fridge. You can kind of see it's going to town right now. It's at about 46 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is happy. So that's a good sign. So it's in the fermentation process right now, so it's eating all the sugars that were from the grains, and it is now eating those sugars and turning it into CO2 and alcohol, which is great. We're really excited for that, but it is a lager yeast, which means that it's going to take a month or two before that is taken care of. And when I say taken care of, when it is fully fermented, and I'm really looking forward to it being done. Before I get to the coffee roasting, I also want to give you guys an update. So this Thursday, I believe that's the 29th of June, we're going to be bottling beer. So I haven't done that yet. I did a stream of me kegging my first beer, which went well for the most part. And I still have a little beer left in that keg, and it is fantastic. And then, so that's on Thursday. I'll figure out the time here shortly. I'm assuming it's going to be more in the evening and mountain time. So if you're free, please come and join us. Should be fun. I'll teach you all about bottling beer. And then, let's see. Also, we got to do another beer recipe. So that's another stream that I'm going to be doing here shortly. I'm trying to figure out which beer to brew next. So if you're watching this and you're curious and want to be a part of that, make sure to subscribe and follow and set up notifications so you can make sure you see all the videos and involved with beer and coffee and anything in between. So just at least for now, the for sure date is Thursday the 29th, probably around evening time. We will be streaming our bottling, and then I'll figure out a time to do the beer recipe. As soon as I figure out what beer to roast, gosh, I'm thinking of coffee now. As soon as I think about the beer that we're going to be brewing, I'll let you know. I've kind of been waiting because I was hoping that this beer that we'd be brewing next week, I was hoping that that beer was going to be for a family that's dealing with some medical issues right now, and we're going to use it as a fundraiser. I'm not asking you guys to donate. I'm just wanting you to bring you guys along on the brewing process. Anyways, that's what our plan was, but we haven't heard anything back from them, so we're just going to create a beer recipe to brew next week. And in the event that the family does get in contact with me about what kind of beer that they want, then I'll probably do a switcheroo, create a really quick beer recipe, and then we're gonna brew that beer and get it fermenting. So anyways, without further ado, let's get roasting. So I'm gonna get this popcorn popper turned on and get it heated up. I'll show you the beans that we're roasting today. We're almost done with the Ethiopian, so we're going to finish the Ethiopian today. Ethiopian is great as a light roast. I've had it as a medium and dark roast as well, and it also turns out really nicely. But in general, Ethiopian is better as a light roast. So just a heads up there. If you've watched any of my coffee roasting streams within the last month or so, you saw me roast Ethiopian already, and you also saw me roast the Panama Peso Ancho. This one it's good for a light, medium, or dark roast, and honestly, when we did the coffee tasting a few weeks ago, we decided that medium roast was better, so today we're going to do this as a medium roast. And I've got a new bag of beans from Peru, Pitocuno Alejandro Huesa. I don't know Spanish, so that's the best I can do. This one is more of a medium to dark, so we're going to roast this one today, and we will do dark roast. So that's our plan for today. So just so you all know, I'm just going to try and finish up the Ethiopian as quickly as I can, get that out of the way, and then we'll start going into the other roasts. But today, while I'm roasting, I just want to have a conversation with you all. So if anybody starts watching and you want to be part of the conversation, please jump in, join the chat, ask questions about coffee roasting, ask questions about beer, ask questions about anything involved with life. Also, one other thing, if you're new to my channel, we have a Discord server, so please click on that link and join that server. Again, we talk everything beer, coffee, and life. And then I also have a YouTube channel, so all of these videos are getting typed into my YouTube channel. If any of you guys were following last week, I had a little bit of a technical issue because the internet was not working very well for me. It seems to be working a little bit better for me today, so let's hope it stays that way. So that last stream was split up into like 10 different videos, so I'm trying to merge those videos together, repost it as a rerun on Twitch, and then I'm going to post it again on YouTube. So apart from that, let's get going. Here, I'm going to make sure you can see kind of what I'm doing. I'm done with the intro, so you can see what's going on. So we're taking a small cup of these and pouring it in, and we are going to start stirring it so it doesn't get too hot or unbalanced. Oops. I'm also starting a stopwatch. It's been in there for about 30 seconds already, so we just got to make sure that we pay attention to that. The big thing here is we want to make sure that when we're roasting, for consistency's sake, we want to track our time as much as possible. Do you need to use a timer? No, you don't need to use a timer. It's helpful. I got to get a better spoon, and in fact, I got to get an actual coffee roaster. It'd be a lot less hands-on, and I'd have a lot more opportunity to talk. So I'm trying to balance conversation with roasting coffee right now. And if you do join us on Thursday to bottle the beer, my good buddy Braden's going to be joining us on that day, and should be pretty fun. Awesome dude, and I've had him join me with brewing beer a couple times, and he really wanted me to brew another beer, but I just don't have the time for it this week. So you can kind of see it's already starting to turn a little bit yellow. I don't know if you can or not, but started off green, now it's yellowing and kind of getting to a more tan color. Before too long, it's going to be dry enough that it'll start boiling on its own and heating up. And we're just trying to keep everything balanced is all we're doing. You can kind of see the chaff that's coming out. This is why I do it outside, not inside. Not to mention the smoke as well. And for it to be a light roast, we're going to pull it out in the middle of first crack. So you heard that already. It's going to be a loud cracking noise, kind of like popcorn popping. And once it gets into the middle of that cracking, that first crack, and before that first crack is over, we're going to pull it out and stick it in the colander and cool it down, and that would constitute a light roast. It's a hot day today, so it's already starting to go crack a little bit sooner than anticipated, but that's okay. We're just going to find the best time possible. So it'll probably be about 2 minutes, 45 seconds when we pull it out. And I see that there is one person who just joined, so welcome. Thanks for jumping on real quickly. We're roasting coffee. If you have any questions about it, let me know. And also, I brew beer, so if you have any questions and you aren't already following or subscribed to my channel and you want to be a part of that process of watching how beer is made, make sure to follow me. We'll be brewing a beer next week, and then this week we're going to be bottling a beer that we brewed last week. So anyways, I just want to send a quick welcome to you because it's awesome to have people on this channel. So feel free to join in the chat. I also love talking everything life. Alright, so we're right in the middle of that first crack. So I go ahead and pull the beans out. So you can see it took about 2.5 minutes just to get this roasted. So it's a nice light roast. A little bit of chaff in there still, nothing super crazy. I'm trying to cool it down as quickly as possible right now so it stops roasting. I don't want it to get any darker than what it is, because if it does, then it starts to change the profile I was shooting for. Since it's my coffee, I'm going to blow on it a little bit. That kind of helps speed up the process. I have a fan hooked into the wall to the left of me, and once I get this cooled down enough, I'm going to move it over there so I can get roasting the next batch. Honestly, roasting coffee is so easy, same with brewing beer. It's always a blast to be able to brew your own beer, roast your own coffee, and honestly, it took me about 6 months to really kind of get the coffee roasting down to where my coffee tastes better than Starbucks. I'm not just saying that to toot my own horn as much as I want to. And don't get me wrong, I'll still drink Starbucks if I'm desperate. And there are times when I'm desperate. But it's also really not that bad. If you get it done right. If you get like a pour over, or you get like the Clover done, or you go one of the Starbucks Reserves, their coffee is fan-freaking-tastic. Or if you go to the motherland, which is Seattle, Washington, you can find some really good Starbucks coffee there. Alright, so this is cooled down enough. I'm going to stick it over by the fan, and I'll be right back. One thing is, if you are going to use this popcorn popper, there are some vents underneath it. Make sure they're clear, because there's a whole bunch of chaff that comes from the coffee beans, and it's really, really important that you don't let the chaff get up into the those grates, because if it does, it keeps the airflow down, and then it could also be a fire hazard because it gets really hot inside this air popper. So I'm going to turn the air popper back on. We're going to get it going. And yeah, we're just doing this. And the reason I do coffee as well as beer, mostly it's just fun to have my own coffee, but the other thing is there are sometimes when I brew a beer with coffee in it. Probably about a year ago, I made a beer that was absolutely fantastic, and I got it brewed again. And what it was an Irish coffee red ale. So it was a base Irish red ale, and then I added my own home roasted coffee to it. And then I added some lactose sugar, which kind of gives it kind of like a creamy mouthfeel, which is amazing. Because, if you've ever had an Irish coffee before, it's sweet, it's creamy, it's really nice. And then I had some oak chips that I soaked in Jameson whiskey for about 2 weeks. And then I threw those oak chips and some of that whiskey in the fermenter. And it was just so great. The original aroma, or the initial aroma when you're smelling it, you could get that hint of coffee and that hint of beer, obviously that biscuity, caramely sweetness. And then when you drink it, you definitely got the coffee. You got that smooth, creamy mouthfeel. and there was a little bit of vanilla that kind of came from those oak chips, and then on the back end it just transitioned into this beautiful whiskey aftertaste. It was fantastic. So roasting coffee is just, it seems like a perfect partnership when it comes to brewing beer. But obviously, coffee in the morning, beer in the evening, or vice versa if it's your day off, or at the same time. But anyways, so that's something I like to do. So that's why I'm roasting coffee as well on the Speakeasy Brewer, because I'm going to be brewing coffee. And in fact, today, I'm representing Oregon today. I don't live in Oregon. I'm in Salt Lake City right now, but born and raised in Oregon. So I got my Oregon cup and my Oregon shirt. So cheers to Oregon. And I'm drinking my Ethiopian light roast from a couple weeks ago, and it is really, really good. The beans themselves, when you smell it inside the can, oh my gosh, it smells so good. It smells kind of like dark chocolate and cherry. It's amazing. When you get to this point in time where you start roasting your own coffee, you become more of a snob because you realize the aromas and the flavors, and it's beautiful. Coffee and beer is an art, and it takes a little bit of skill, but honestly, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm kind of a dingus, so you could definitely make it happen. So anyways, really pumped that whoever's watching right now, really glad that you're here. I'm gonna get this next batch roasting. So here's the green beans, and in about 3 minutes we're gonna have roasted beans. Again, this is Ethiopian, and we're wanting to do it a light roast. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. I'm sorry. Anyways, we're trying to do it a light roast. Again, I'm stirring it to kind of make sure that the beans get evenly heated. I want it to be a balanced roast, and that's the only way to have a balanced roast in this popcorn popper. These beans are still, they're not necessarily wet, they're dry, but there's still a little bit of moisture in the bean itself. So right now what we're doing is we're just drying it out. Right now it's still green, it's starting to transition over to kind of a yellow-green color, and then it'll kind of transition into a tan color, and right around that time is when it's considered dry. And it'll start boiling and spinning on its own, and then I don't need to stir it anymore. And then to make sure it's a light roast, we're gonna pull it out right when we're in the middle of first crack. And again, first crack is when you hear the bean cracking open, and first crack is usually pretty loud. It sounds kind of like popcorn popping, but a higher pitched crack. So right now, as you can see, barely, I'm sorry I don't have better lighting for you, but it's now tan in color. It's starting to move and rotate and boil by itself. I'm just stirring it every once in a while to get the chaff out. And then pretty soon you're going to start hearing first crack, and then it's going to be ready to go. So I'm going to go and get the other beans. I'll be right back. Just watch this for me, will you? So you can hear the first crack right now. Getting the colander ready. Again, using the colander to help cool the beans down faster, get some airflow, rotate it around a little bit. That's kind of the whole purpose of this. So we're at about 2 minutes. I think last time we pulled it about 2:30, 2:45, so we're right on time, right on schedule for what we had last time. And you can just see all this chaff just coming out. Also, don't breathe in the smoke. It's not good for your health. Alright. 5 more seconds and then we're going to pull it out. Alright, there's 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So look at this. I mean, honestly, just so you know, it is summertime, obviously, with this system, because it's hot outside already, so I don't have to do a whole lot of preheating, and the air that's getting pulled in at the bottom is already slightly heated, so it doesn't use as much energy to heat that air. In the wintertime, it takes a lot longer, sometimes 7 to 10 minutes just to get the same profile, which is why I'm saving up money right now to to get an actual roaster where I'm going to be roasting 1 pound of beans at a given time, and I'll just speed up this process. And the one that I'm looking at, it actually has an app that allows me to control the profile. So I'll roast a coffee according to a profile that I want in particular, and then if I like that profile, I can hit save, and it'll actually save that profile, and then when I go roast again, I'll put the same beans in, and I hit copy this profile, and it'll actually copy and match that the whole way. Obviously, there's some variations, obviously with temperature outside, the ambient temperature, I should say, the type of bean, the amount of beans, all that stuff can kind of play a role in how long it takes to actually get a bean roasted, or if it stays on that profile exactly. So as long as you can have a small margin of error, you should get a pretty consistent profile for whatever bean you're wanting to roast. Also, just a reminder, I get all of my beans, and I got all of this equipment for the most part from Sweet Maria's Coffee Roasting. It's online. The popcorn popper is $30. This I think I bought for like $15 at like a Winco or something. And then the beans are like, they're about like $15 a pound or something like that. Nothing super crazy. Honestly, you're only saving a handful of dollars compared to like going to the grocery store and buying 1 pound bags. But it's just more fun to be able to be self-sustaining with your own coffee, and you get to have control over your own coffee and roast your own coffee. It's just a lot more fun. All right, let's get this show on the road. So, last time we talked about, obviously we talked about coffee, we talked a little bit about beer, and we talked a little bit about my intentions for this year. It was my birthday last week, or 2 weeks ago I should say, and so the last time I did a coffee roasting, we talked about being intentional in life, and being present, and talked about building community and loving people, and what does it look like to actually love people, and that's just a very deep well to dig into. So before I get going, I'm gonna just pop these beans in. You already know what it looks like. I'm starting the timer. I'm gonna just stir it now. In the chat, if you want to see anything that I'm doing, or you want to see or you have any questions, please just let me know. I'm flexible. Honestly, I'd rather you guys interact with me on chat and other things. It just makes it more fun, because this channel is powered by you. So the more you interact, the better the stream will be. So I see right now that my internet isn't doing so well. So hopefully it's not jumping around too much. I don't know why my internet's been weird lately. But if you're watching or just having me play in the background, if you don't mind, could you do me a favor and just tell me in the chat if the stream's going okay in terms of like technology. I'm buying a repeater this week to make the strength of my internet inside be able to come out here to the garage. That way I don't have any more technical issues. Seems like I'm doing okay. I've had 39 slow frames, 334 frame drops. Last week I got up to like 60,000 frame drops, and that's bad. That's bad. So, anyways, yeah, so today I'm thinking about that idea more in depth of what it looks like to love people. It's so easy these days to, get on social media and choose to not interact with people in person, or when things get really hard, to just retreat to the scrolling. And we all have that issue. I have that issue sometimes, but I'm really working hard at trying to free myself from the social media, free myself from the distractions of the news and everything, because honestly, not only is it a distraction, and not only does it steal your life and your relationships, but it also divides people. because you're going to find out that the algorithms online are going to show you what you already think and believe and want to hear, and it's just going to reinforce it. And then you're going to think that everybody else who thinks differently than you is an idiot, inhumane, stupid, that kind of thing. I'll be right back. Anyways, it shouldn't be that way, right? We should be okay with people having different ideas and different opinions. I think what bothers us mostly is when people have extreme points of view. And I mean, it's one thing to have an extreme point of view, and it's an entirely different thing to have an extreme action. I gotta pour this one out. So if you act out extremely based on your opinion. So my thinking is trying to remove myself from the things that, one, distract me and distract my own internal thoughts and processes, trying to process emotion and trying to process ideas and think. I don't want people to be thinking for me. I want to think for myself. But at the same time, I also don't want there to be something that's going to influence me to hate somebody or dislike somebody or demonize or animalize another person. The reason being is if you think that somebody's uneducated or you think somebody's stupid or you demonize them, then what you've just done to yourself is, and to them, is you've just totally severed the potential for good communication to take place, or for community to be built, or relationships to be had. And to love somebody, that I went on this, not tirade, but what was it? I had this conversation last week talking about that phrase, love is love. That's as vague as saying air is air, right? It's like, well, there's so many different ways to express and to define love. And like the Greeks have 5 words for love. Like I think it's philo love, like brotherly love. There's eros love, which is lustly love. And then there's agape, which is unconditional, all-consuming love. And there's some other ones like intimacy with your spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, that kind of thing, that level of love. So there's all these different variations of love. And so I don't really like that phrase because I think it's a cop-out, because I think it keeps us from wanting to actually define it. Because if I can just say love is love, then I can treat you however I want, and it may mean that my way of treating you a certain way is one way of loving. You may not receive love in that same way. There's this fantastic book called The 5 Love Languages, and I really like that too, because I think it really defines how we can love and how we receive love. So there's 5 love languages according to that book. One of them is quality time. The other is acts of service, gifts, touch, and words of affirmation. So quality time, obviously, spend as much time with people as possible. So to receive love in that way, you just spend time with people and you receive love that way. But you also give love in that way. Acts of service means that you feel loved when somebody does chores or errands or does something for you to kind of help relieve the stress of doing things. And then your way of showing is, I'm going to clean the house, I'm going to do the dishes, I'm going to vacuum, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. That's acts of service. Gifts, you receive love by receiving gifts from others, and you give love by giving gifts to others. And then what was the other ones? Words of affirmation is just like you love telling people they're awesome, and you love being told how awesome you are. And then you have touch, obviously. You feel love when you get touched, and then you love others by touching them. So one thing to do is find out how you receive love and how you give love, but also find out how your friends, your family, your neighbors, how they receive love, and you can love them by doing the things on how they receive love. My wife, for example, she loves acts of service. So for me to love her, I might have words of affirmation that says, I love you, you're hot, you're amazing, golly, I'm lucky, blah, 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 blah. But to her, that doesn't mean much. But to her, if I were to like wash the dishes, give the dog a bath, water the garden, vacuum the floor, to her, that is a true act of love, and she feels loved that way. So just something to ponder. And if you want to join in on this conversation, only if you want to, just join in the chat. And I would love to hear your thoughts on what it means to love people. And what I would really like to do is figure out a solution for us to love each other better, to love each other as neighbors, as friends, as family. I think sometimes love requires forgiveness. It also requires patience and long suffering, especially when you're dealing with people that have different ideas, different backgrounds, different beliefs, that kind of thing. It can be really hard to love somebody that's got something that's so drastically different than what you think or believe, but it's a beautiful thing to have those different ideas and opinions. If we all believe the same thing, we'd just be, I don't know what you would call it. I mean, that sounds to me like I don't know, that sounds kind of totalitarian. You must think this way, act this way, do these things and do those things, and if you don't, then you're not of us. You can't be part of the group. I think it's better for us to have different points of view. It's kind of like that metaphor of the 5 blind men touching the elephant at different points. One touches touches the tail and thinks it's a snake. The other touches the leg and thinks it's a tree trunk. The other touches the nose, and they all touch something different, and they all think it's something different. And what ends up happening is they're actually seeing the same animal, just from a different perspective. I also like to think of humans as other people being a puzzle piece, and we're just one puzzle piece of a larger picture. And without each other, and without all these different puzzle pieces, without the corner pieces, the side pieces, the top and bottom, and all the middle pieces that kind of create this picture, it's really hard to have a picture, right? So it's a beautiful thing to have different ideas and figure out how to mesh those ideas together and be able to ask questions and ask questions of the things you already believe. You know, if you believe one thing adamantly, be brave enough to ask questions about why you believe those things. Go deep. There's depth to be found in the questioning. I'm just reaching out again. Whoever's watching right now, thanks again for watching. It's way more fun to do this when other people are a part of it. If you haven't already figured out, talking about the love languages, my love language is quality time and words of affirmation. Oh, and touch, but there's that. Alright. One last batch of Ethiopian, and then we're going to kick it into high gear and start working on... I want to brew that, or roast that next batch of beans that's Peruvian beans. That's new to me. I'll do a little bit of the Panama as well. Again, if you have any questions or you want to join the conversation, feel free to join in the chat. I'm watching it. I can see it. So I would love to have you be a part of this conversation because, again, you guys power this channel. You guys define this channel, and you guys are the ones that are going to cause this channel to evolve into what it's going to become. Also, speaking of patience, thanks for the patience as I figure out all the technical stuff, figure out the streaming stuff. It's hard. It's hard to learn something that's totally not your forte or your skill. This is something new to me, so I'm trying to learn it the best I can. So anyways, let me cool this down. Also, one thing is with these coffee beans, coffee roasting, the reason I also roast coffee is I want to provide people who don't drink alcohol, I want to provide them another option to join in my community. because not everybody likes beer or wine or alcohol for that matter. Sometimes people like coffee. Oh, I'm slowing down. I just saw that happen. Okay, it looks like it fixed itself. Sorry. I gotta fix this. I have it in my Amazon cart too to buy that repeater, so I have strong internet. Again, if you're watching and maybe you don't want to be a part of the chat because you're doing work or something, it's totally understandable. No pressure there at all. I do have a Discord server, and the link is on my channel page. So jump on there, join that server. Again, we talk about beer, coffee, and everything under the sun right now. I only have one thread going right now, or one thread on the server. And it's just my Twitch community, and on there we just have conversations. What beer we're gonna brew next, what coffee we're roasting, and just some thoughtful ideas about life. And as I get more of a following, then I'm gonna start, creating these different threads so that everybody has a different thread that they could be a part of. So if you don't really care about beer or anything fermented drink, then you might not want to join the beer server. You might want to join the coffee server. Or maybe you don't care about beer or coffee, but you want to just have really good conversations with people. Then you're going to join the conversation with people server, or thread. So trying my best to bring as many people in as possible to make this a journey that we do together, because life is more fun together than apart. I came up with the saying. It's a German saying, but it works just as well in English. But I was thinking about it recently, and it's "Zusammen, nicht allein." So what that means is together, not alone. We should be doing life together and not alone. As much as it is fun to have your own control over your own life, and it's good to do that, it's also important to involve people in your life. The people add checks and balances, keep you accountable, encourage you, motivate you, and it's all about finding the right people, right, to keep you in that good place. Sorry, I had to be silly. With all this philosophical talk, I gotta be goofy at some point. Because I am a goofball. That's all there is to it. Whew, it's getting toasty in here. So eventually what I'm going to do with all of this is all the beer, all the coffee, I want to use it for good. So everything that I do right now is all about learning, improving the process, teaching what I already know because that helps reinforce what I know. And if there's something I don't know, or one of you guys has a question about coffee or beer or anything, and I don't know the answer, I have to go look it up. These live streams are uncensored, unfiltered, so you get to see all of my mistakes, all my flaws, and I'm open to anybody who might be a coffee roaster already or a brewer, a home brewer, and I'm open for feedback. Because all I want to do is be better than I am right now. Because again, my goal is to make sure that every beer and every coffee that I roast in the future, because I would love to turn this into like a brewery / coffee shop at some point in time. I want each coffee and each beer to have a story behind it, and I want it to have a point and purpose to make a positive change in my community. And I love that you guys get to be a part of this journey as I grow and learn and improve everything. And I'm excited because I'll be changing my garage too to turn it into like a really cool loungy situation. And I'm going to have like a really small coffee shop / brew pub in here for friends and family and maybe Twitch followers if you happen to end up in Salt Lake. Alright, that's cool enough. Let's get the other beans going, shall we? So I am super excited for this. Like, look at this big bag of beans. I believe this is can't remember if it's 5 pounds or I'm pretty sure it's 5 pounds. Maybe it's 10 pounds, I don't know. But I'm really excited about this. When you're using a knife, be careful. That's today's thing. The more you know, if you didn't already know. It's good to be careful. I have definitely gotten cut by this knife once. Early on when it was super sharp. I didn't even know I got cut. I like bumped my finger and I was like, oh, it didn't cut. And it wasn't even bleeding. I'm like, wow. But then it started burning and stinging and I'm like, wow, maybe it was a deeper cut. And I was like looking at it and rubbing my thumb and then it just like somehow peeled the skin back and it just was bleeding like a stun gun. It was gross. There was blood everywhere. One of my friends was like, do you need stitches? Do you need something? I'm like, I think I'm okay. Do I look pale? Do I look like I'm dying? I think I'm okay, but if you think I'm dying, you should probably fix it. Because I want to stay alive. I got stuff to do, people to see, communities to improve, people to love. And that's honestly my my purpose in life. Now that I've come of age and I realize now that my life isn't just for me anymore, it's about others. I feel like that was a pretty profound thing for me to learn. I just want to live my life in a way that benefits others. I want to add depth and value to people's lives. And I've shifted my mind from changing the world to changing someone's world. Keep it simple, you know? Also, for those of you who are interested in checking this out, I'm going to just show you my screen real fast. So here's what we're looking at for roasting levels. Obviously there's green, unroasted green, and then it's basically drying up. So we're looking at that, and we're going to be doing City Plus. So that's a light, medium to dark roast. So we're going to shoot for, it says right here, it's wait till the end of first crack, and you may still hear last few first cracks. So that's City Plus. And then full city is full medium, so it's when first crack is ended. So based on these beans, it says it's better to be City Plus to full city, so basically light medium, medium, or dark roast. So we're going to shoot for medium today. So we're going to finish out the first crack, and the second crack has not begun. So we're putting in the new beans now. Let me get you back so you're not like looking at silliness right there. Alright, there we go. Alright, into the beans go. Start the timer. So all of the Ethiopian beans that we just did was about 2 minutes and 40 seconds for it to get right in the middle of the first crack, which is perfect for light roast. One thing I'd love to do at some point in time is actually travel to the farms in all these different places like Peru, Costa Rica, Indonesia, New Guinea, maybe even Ethiopia. I think that'd be really fun to go and actually go to the farms and buy the beans there. Alright, so here, I don't know if you can see it now, but they're still kind of green. They're starting to turn that yellow-green color. I should really, when I get an actual roaster, I'll be able to pull out a small bit and show you guys the difference. I'd love to put it on a piece of white paper so you could see the change that comes with it. So right now it's starting to get to, let's see. So it's starting to get to a, I don't know if you could, that helps, but like a tan color. It's boiling on its own right now, so I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna put the rest of the Ethiopian in a bag. I'll be right back. Also, when you're you're starting new with coffee roasting, make sure to take lots of notes. because it's a great way for you to figure out what you like better. Do you like light roast? Do you like medium roast? Do you like dark roast? And then also trying to find out which beans you want to be light or dark or medium. One thing I like to do every once in a while is to take a specific bean and try it at both light, medium, and dark, and then do a taste test. All right, so there's a couple of small cracks in there. There's a good big crack. So we're at about 2 minutes and 14 seconds. These beans are bigger, so I think they are taking a little more time to heat up. But you can hear it now. And we're gonna wait until first crack ends. So we're gonna wait until there's obviously less cracking. So once we hear no more first cracks, that's when we'll pull it out. So we're about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So these are definitely taking longer to roast. Alright, still a couple first cracks. I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer. Alright, I don't hear any more first cracks, I'm pulling it out. Alright, here we go. Again, nice roast right here. I mean, it's pretty close to light. Just a little bit darker than the Ethiopian beans. I don't know if you'll be able to tell the difference, because they look pretty close in color, but honestly, there's less beans in here, and they were all done cracking, so that was about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So I'm going to remember that. Since these beans are bigger, we're going to have to do some more batches of it. And I won't keep you here for all of it. I'm just going to keep you here for just a little bit longer, just because it's more fun to talk with you guys. So again, just a reminder, I've got a Discord channel, so go find that link on my channel, join there, and we'll have all sorts of good conversations. As this channel evolves and matures, we're going to have more threads in there to give more options for people to kind of fine-tune and focus what they want to be a part of. And then just make sure that if you like what you're seeing and you like the conversation, you like the content, make sure to follow, I guess subscribe, but follow, and then set up notifications so that every time I put a new video on, you can check it out. And then again, I have a YouTube channel as well, The Speakeasy Brewer. It's simple. I'm going to have all of my videos be exported to YouTube as well, just to give everybody a chance to see everything. I heard a child scream. Usually that's not a good thing, but it wasn't like a bad scream. Sounded like a playful scream. And it's coffee time, oh. I'm horrible at dancing. I'm like the most white boy dance moves you've ever seen. There's no shame in it. No shame in it. Embrace the suck. Looks like we might have some Vetha coming our way. We need some rain, so that's good. I don't know where you all are at, but right here in Salt Lake, we've been getting a lot of rain and snow the last year or so, which is always good. Forgot to start the timer. So again, whoever's watching right now, I really appreciate you joining or watching. It's awesome to have you. I hope the conversation is good. I hope you're enjoying learning about coffee. Once I get this rolling, one thing I didn't do is I didn't tell y'all what sort of flavor and aroma we should get from these beans at the medium to dark roast profile. So once this starts rotating on its own, I will read that to you all. And before too long, you guys will all be connoisseurs of beer and coffee. Alright, so it's rolling now. Okay, so this Peruvian bean, it's cocoa laden profile, Dutch cocoa, dark chocolate almonds, and carob chips. Espresso shots are a home run too. Satiny mouthfeel, candied orange peel, walnut, good for espresso. I have an espresso machine. I should turn it into an espresso and we'll find out how good it really is as an espresso. It sounds like it would be good, but man, all you have to do is say chocolate, or even orange peel. I mean, that just sounds fantastic. But yeah, you can become a connoisseur. You can really start to pick out the coffee flavors. And so you can, just like beer, just like wine, coffee's the same thing. You can fill your cup and just swirl it around, release the aromas, get your nose right down into it, and just close your eyes. And then just smell and just see what comes to mind when you smell it. Like one time we did this coffee tasting and it smelled like chocolate biscotti. And then you drank it and it almost tasted like burnt sugar. It was amazing. I've read that you have two types of aromatic sensors. One is in your nose, obviously just smelling, which kind of smells like cream almost, like chocolate cream, like buttercream. Yeah, it's good. I only taste a little bit of it kind of tastes creamy a little bit. Anyways, and then to get the second flavor, you need to put it in your mouth, and kind of like how you can kind of like blow through your nose and in your mouth at the same time. I don't know how to explain that, but it kind of helps you to smell on the back end of your nose. So there's like other sensors in the back of your nose. This is another way to get the aroma, and then the flavor is obviously whatever goes in the front. All right, we're at 320. Alright, I don't hear any more first crack. That means we're right where we need to be in terms of medium. Oh my gosh, this looks so beautiful. Check it out. They all look the same, I know, but if only I had better lighting, then you could see the difference. This one's just, it's got a beautiful coffee color. I'm really excited about this one. So, we'll do the medium roast today, and then I'll probably try the dark roast the next time I do a roasting session. So about 340, 350. Again, if I was selling this coffee, I wouldn't be blowing on it. I won't sell this coffee until I actually have a roaster that's got a whole system for cooling and I can keep it consistent. Quality control is important and consistency is important when you're selling a product, because some people like flavors of beers or flavors of coffee or whatever, and they want it to be consistent every single time they buy it. So it's really important. Alright. Okay, we got 2 batches done of this stuff. Alright. We're kind of coming to the end of the stream. Like I said, I just want to show you guys a little bit of what I'm doing, bring you into the conversation. And my goal for this week, to love people. One is to, well, I should do something to love my wife. So I'll probably help her out with some chores and make sure that the house is clean, and if there's anything that's stressing her out, I'll help, take the burden off of her by doing some of that for her. That'll be my way of loving her, and to love my friends and neighbors, just, I think at this point, just being present. I have a handful of friends and neighbors who are going through some hard stuff right now, and sometimes people need to vent and just process verbally, and it just requires us to listen, and sometimes just being present in listening without adding feedback or critique or whatever, that usually is a very healthy, good thing, and that's a really simple way of loving people, especially when people are hurting or angry. I mean, obviously it's like one of the most important first steps in communication, right, is making sure that you listen. Because if you don't know what somebody's talking about and you're just thinking about what you're going to respond with, you're not actually actively listening. You're just listening and hear something, and then you have something to say about the thing that they said. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to meet up with a few people, and I'm just going to be present, and I'm going to listen, and and just connect. It's real good. So, again, you guys are awesome. You guys really do power this channel. You make this channel what it is. So, the more you get involved, the better this channel will be. And I want you all to be involved. I've told people that if they subscribe, and if they get a friend to subscribe and to set up notifications and get involved and engaged in the channel, that I will let them choose my next beer that I brew. And so that's what's going on. I've already had one person who he's helped me. His name's Sun Goner. That's his name on Twitch. He's also got a stream channel. As far as I know, he does art and drinks beer while he does art. So he's a great addition to this community, but he's helped me to figure out a lot of the streaming stuff. So if you have any feedback or anything as well for me to improve my channel, to make it more enjoyable for you guys, please let me know, because I really want this to just be a fun experience for everybody. Not boring. I want it to be engaging and exciting and fun and involved. So let me know there. But I've got a spreadsheet that I just created. So for all of you guys who have somebody come over, follow and subscribe, set up notifications, send me in a whisper in the Discord server their name, and then I'll make sure to stick you on the list for choosing the next beer. Wow, like clockwork. Kind of had a plum smell, actually. That's weird. One day I'm gonna have a whole cool, building that's just for me. It's not my garage. Everybody has to start somewhere, right? Small beginnings lead to big things, and all the big, great things and fun things all begin in garages. So I get inspired in my garage. But one day I hope to have a whole facility where I can roast coffee and brew beer, just because I think it would be just a blast. I can have more control, I can keep it cleaner, it'll look a little bit nicer, I can add lights, I can add more cameras, I can add all sorts of stuff just to make the whole system good. And I also want to improve the system for water capture, so I'm not wasting resources, and also capturing the CO2, because obviously when we're roasting coffee and we're brewing beer, there's CO2 that's being created, and I'd love to create a piping that sucks all the CO2 out and it puts it in like a greenhouse, because then the greenhouse can use this, or the plants in the greenhouse can use that CO2 to grow. CO2 is good. An abundance of it is not good. More trees, please. More trees. More trees. I don't know why I did that. I wasn't like trying to do like gun sign or anything like that. I was just like, yeah, good, all right, check mark, sweet, righteous. I don't know. But yeah, trees. Plant more trees. Obviously, I'm from Oregon, so yes, I'm a tree hugger. I love trees. So, it's good to have more trees. Actually, you know what's exciting about Africa right now? In Africa, they're planting a ton of trees, and they're in the process of reversing the desertification in the Sahara. So they're shrinking the Sahara Desert by planting trees, and they've basically given people jobs to plant trees and water it daily. And they call it the Great Green Wall. You can go on YouTube or on Google and you can type in the Great Green Wall and you'll see that. And they stretch from the farthest west of Africa to the furthest east of Africa at that fat part where the Sahara is. And they're actually reversing the growth of the desert, which is awesome. And they're not going to get rid of the desert entirely, because you can't do that. Deserts are good, it's a habitat, and deserts play a vital role in our climate on this planet. But so do trees. By planting trees down there, they've cooled the temperatures down. They've been able to have it create more rain and less flooding from the rain. And since it's cooler and there's more rain, they can also plant crops there as well, which means more food for people. It's pretty cool. But they're already starting to see a change in weather because of that. And so we get all of our weather, at least during hurricane season, it all starts off in Africa, and it moves across the equator, up the Gulf Coast, and into the United States, especially during like mid to late summer and early fall during hurricane season. And they're already seeing a shift in that weather that's coming across the ocean, which is pretty impressive. It's amazing what trees will do. So like going down to South America, you know, we're creating palm oil farms, and they're just chopping down all the trees, and it's devastating down there. And they had a big fire there a couple years ago, so if we were to replant and help the Amazon forest regrow, it would be amazing. It would change the way of the direction of climate change right now. So it wouldn't heat things up, it would actually cool things down, and it would actually reduce the amount of CO2. So the amount of CO2 that we create as humans, as far as I've read, will be basically balanced, if not being reduced, if we plant a huge amount of trees everywhere. They clean the air, they turn the CO2 into oxygen, which is good for us. It cools things down, it creates more rain. What's not to like about trees? And once they get older and they die, then you can use them for building houses, you can use them to make paper, you can use them for fire. All good stuff, all good stuff. So, one of my beers that I'm going to do, I'm going to do two different beers. I'm not doing them right now. This will be a year or so, probably, because it'll be something that I'll want to do with you all and make this something that we get to be a part of. And this is just part of the world-changing experience that is the Speakeasy Brewer. It's not just about me, it's about all of us. I'm trying to create a community of people who want to do good in the world. So I want you guys to be a part of that change when the time comes. But I want to do two beers. One is going to be a Rauchbier, which means smoke beer in German. and I'm going to call it the Smoky Bear Ale, and basically inspired by Smokey the Bear. And that beer is going to be for the purpose of raising funds to help combat forest fires and to help communities that have been affected by forest fires. And then there's going to be another one which I haven't come up with the name of yet, but the whole point of that beer will be to raise money to plant trees in all over. And it'll be planting native trees in different areas of the country and maybe even the world if we get to that point. But I'm going to just start local because that's what I have control over and what I have influence over. It's really easy for us to think big and be like, I want to change the world. I need my 15 minutes of fame and I'm going to go viral and all this sort of stuff. But you know what? There's something to be said about consistency, showing up, being present, and building your vision and starting small and slowly growing because otherwise you become a flash in the pan. And for any of you who don't know what that phrase means, it's like throwing grease on a pan in the kitchen that's hot and it just flash, boom, there's like a huge flame and it's there for a second, and it's really big, it's really scary, and you're like, oh wow, this is so powerful, and then it goes away. That's a flash in the pan. It doesn't last very long, but it's amazing when it happens. And so it's all about long-term vision, creating your vision. So when you have a good idea and you want to make a change somewhere, start small, build up, like, what can I do now? What is phase 1? What is phase 2? What is phase 3? What does it look like for me after a year? What does it look like for me after 5 years, 10 years, that sort of thing? Build the vision first and slowly create, meditate, daydream, and innovate, create, do all these things to, and build community of people who have skills or abilities or strengths or strengths that cover your weaknesses to help you along. Don't do it by yourself. Create a mastermind group. Strategize, be tactful or tactical. Just having that strategic mindset and that long-term vision and just slowly building it, that leads to success. You know, when you have a fire, you want to build the coals first before you cook any food. It takes a little bit of time to build those coals, you know. You have to start the fire, you have to get it going. Once it's going, then you have to burn a couple logs, and then you build the coals. And then you can keep adding wood to it, and it just continues to burn. So get it to the slow burn phase where it's very hot, and it's hot enough to be effective. And maybe you have a few moments where you throw logs on, and it ignites really fast, draws people in, and wants to be a part of it. But then you have that slow burn to keep people involved, to keep people excited, and to support and be part of that vision. So that's my encouragement to you as we talk about changing the world. Find out what you're passionate about, and think about in the long term. Not what ifs in a negative sense, but what if this idea works? What if I do this and this happens on the positive side? What if I choose to spend one day a week to help people who are less fortunate than me? What does that look like? How does it affect their lives? What happens when their lives are affected in a positive way? What can they do, or what will that encourage them to do? You know, is that going to be a ripple effect? We don't know. And so it's good to ask the positive what ifs, and it's good to balance that with the negative what ifs as well. It's like chess, right? It's like, if I move this pawn here, will they take it? Or if I move it here and here, you have to think several moves, right? You have to have your end goal for that piece, but then you also want to figure out what your opponent's going to be doing. So take time to really think and process all of your ideas, all of your dreams and goals, and create an action plan, starting with like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Break it all up. Add a timeline to it. I want this done in 6 months. I want this done in a year. I want this done in 5 years, 10 years, that kind of thing. So there's some encouragement right there. I hope that helps. All right. Let's see. I think I'm going to do one more of this. Yeah, I'll do one more. So, for those of you who are watching right now, how you doing? How are you feeling? What are your thoughts? If you want to say anything at all, no pressure. I don't want to put you on the spot. Start the timer. So yeah, I'm curious. Bring this into the Twitch server, the Discord server. Sorry, the Discord server of our Twitch community. If you have any ideas or questions, I also want to help brainstorm. I love brainstorming, and if you have any ideas, I've got too many ideas of my own, so I'm not going to steal your ideas. So your ideas are secret safe with me, and I would love to help you create an action plan and have a vision casting session to help you move forward with your goals in your life and to chase after your dreams. I love brainstorming, and I love mobilizing people to achieve things, achieve their goals, achieve their plans. And one thing I definitely do is, and I hope you guys will honor this as well, is I try not to bring any politics into our conversations, because that just seems to be a detriment. So I don't support politics, and I don't want to support any agendas that people have or big movements in the world. Whether I agree with them or don't, that's not even part of the deal. I just don't want to create contention amongst you guys. I want to create unity amongst all of us, because when there's unity, there's power, and when there's a large group of people that are mobilizing as a force for good, we can overcome evil with good. And we can love better and be better, and create better communities, safer communities. Bringing back the idea of honor and respect, and honor and respect doesn't mean tolerate my idea. Honor and respect means I hear your idea, let me understand your thoughts and goals, and let me understand where you're coming from with that, and whether I want to tolerate it or not, that's not even part of the conversation. We are supposed to be listening to each other, respecting each other, giving each other space and time to talk and to think and to be heard, and we get to love each other regardless, right? It's an important thing for us to be in that place of loving regardless. Speaking of movements, if you want to be part of the movement of changing the world one beer at a time, one coffee at a time, learning to love people in a better way, and coming up with brilliant ideas that will change the world or somebody else's world, follow this channel. Make sure you set notifications. Go to the Discord server, get engaged, and bring your friends, family, coworkers, gaming buddies, coffee enthusiasts, beer enthusiasts, bring them all here. We're starting small, but we're going to go big. And we're going to start this move of people that love radically. If there's going to be any radical movement or any form of extremism, let it be extreme love and radical love, where we choose to consider others as more important than ourselves. That's what we're shooting for. Oopsie daisy. I'm getting on. Also, I know it might sound like I like standing on a soapbox. I don't like standing on a soapbox. I'd rather have conversations with you guys. So, if you like or dislike what's being said, please say something in the messages or the chat. And if you don't like being in the chat and you want to send me a whisper and have a private message and a private conversation, feel free to do that as well. Or you could join the Discord server and join in on the conversation that's happening there. We're all in this together. Oh, and my other saying that I came up with that I really like is people, for people, by the people. It doesn't have anything to do with government. I think there's a lot of things that we want the government to take care of because we don't want to take responsibility of helping out our neighbors in our community. But I bet you that if we as people and neighbors took care of our fellow neighbors, made sure that everybody had food, made sure that everybody was taken care of, and didn't have to be living in a place of anxiety or fear of what to do. If we all just took care of each other, I bet you we wouldn't need some of the things that the government does. Which means one thing, less taxes. But more love and more positive change in your local community. I don't know, I feel like that's a pretty good, pretty good trade-off in my opinion. Alright, so we're done with the Peruvian. My battery is dying. Oh no. By the way, I don't sing very well either. I'll sing for you guys, but it may not be good. But then again, if you don't say anything, I might just sing anyways, and I'll think it's good, because I'm like, oh, they're not saying anything. No news is good news. Alright, let's see. 2:45 and I can have that works. Cool. And a reminder. You know what I just realized? I put the beans in the wrong container. It's okay. We're going to improvise, adapt, and overcome. I didn't come up with that. That's not mine. No. Okay. I know, I'm starting to get silly at the end of my streams when I'm just talking about stuff randomly, because it's stuff that's on my mind. I start getting weird. Okay, so now we're doing the Panama Peso Ancho. This one is a light to, it could do light or dark, but we're going to do this one as a medium roast because this one is really, really good as a medium roast. So we are going to set the timer. Yeah? Oh no. Yeah? Okay. Alright, so the timer is set. Again, medium roast is what? Probably won't answer me, but that's okay. It is after first crack. So right between first and second cracks is what we're shooting for. Yeah, I'm really excited for our next beer. And this German Pils, I'm really excited about. I'm also nervous about it because this German Pils, I did something new last time. I was being experimental. I always tell you guys to not be afraid of experimenting or afraid of failure. It's just part of the experimentation process. Oh no! I thought this was boiling by itself. It's not. Give me a second. I just had 2 beans cook and snap already, and it's only like 1 minute. This roast is going to be a little off, but it'll be okay. It's a happy accident. There are no mistakes, just happy accidents. You know, Bob Ross is one of my favorites. Okay, now it's boiling by itself. We're good. Okay, back to what I was saying. So, I was experimenting this last time around with the German Pils and with water chemistry. I sucked at chemistry in high school. I sucked at math in general. So math and chemistry, when you're talking about all that stuff, to me it just is mind-blowing. And so I looked up profiles for beer, water chemistry for beer, for specific types of beers. Sometimes you change the parts per million of like certain minerals. So you start off with reverse osmosis and then you add to your water calcium, chloride, sulfates, magnesium, sodium, and some carbonate. And you could change your water profile to amp up your hops, amp up your bitterness, create a crisp, clean flavor. Some of the stuff you need to make for there to be a healthy ferment. So I did something new last time, and honestly, I just winged it. Um, and so I hope it turns out. The fermentation is going well, it's healthy, so that's good. And yeah, so we'll see, but I'm going to try and do more of that, but that was something new that I tried, and so I'm really excited to see how the beer tastes, how it turns out. For those of you who remember early on in this stream, I showed you the beer, um, the head at the top. That's not necessarily called the head. That's more of what we call the trube or the kreuzen. It's the yeast poop and yeast dead bodies and stuff. And it's white. So it's kind of giving me a good idea that alright, there's a few beans in here that are a little bit darker, but that's okay. But this one that looks much darker for medium roast. So I put it in the same amount of time as I did for this Peruvian, and it's much darker. And I think part of it's because the beans are a little bit smaller, so they heat up a little bit faster. So here we are, nice good looking medium roast. Okay. Anyways, at some point in time I also want to do a stream. I'm going to call it beer here, and maybe coffee here. And we're going to just drink coffee and drink beer, basically doing a review of either coffee or beer, and we're just going to talk about stuff. And I'll make sure to have it more outlined and not just me shooting from the hip with ideas and thoughts. And I'd love for you guys to join me during those conversations, because it'd be good. Great minds create great things. I don't know, I'm just saying something. I just realized I'm just chugging water on camera. Silliness. I gotta switch this up a little bit. So we're gonna do this, not Peru, but Panama. So I went to Costa Rica for work. I was only there for 12 hours, but Costa Rica is beautiful, and I found out that we were in San Jose, and they have a coffee farm up there. That's a Starbucks coffee farm, so you can go there and get the freshly roasted coffee there, and they'll make drinks for you. But you can also go to their market downtown and buy fresh green Costa Rican beans. So I'm going to go down at some point in time, and I'm going to go buy some fresh green beans, which would be sick. One other thing that I didn't say, after you roast, good rule of thumb, can you drink it right away? I'm sure you could, but honestly, I would wait. Everything that I've read and heard, there's a YouTube channel on YouTube, and there's this one guy who's there's a couple guys that are really good at just really explaining coffee and the process, and after watching him, I learned so much about my coffee roasting process and learned about how to improve it. I'll have to put the link in the Discord server, so if you are interested, the link will be in the Discord server. But he was talking about, depending on the roast, the lighter the roast, the longer it needs to sit or air out or off gas before you drink it. So this stuff I'm going to drink tomorrow because I've got a friend that's coming in town, and I ran out of coffee. So I'm going to drink a little bit tomorrow, but the rest of it I'm going to end up letting sit for several days. So these beans, even though they're roasted, there's still a little bit of CO2 in them, and it takes a little bit of time for them to kind of condition and finish off-gassing that CO2. So that's something to consider. So I always put them in jars, and the funniest thing is I'll let them sit for several days, and when I pop it open, it just, air comes out. It makes a really loud pop, which is super interesting. But yeah, the longer you wait, the better. Dark roast you can drink pretty much right away because a lot of the CO2 gets released during second crack. and it just holds a lot less CO2 than you would get from a light or medium roast. So anyways, just some notes there. Make sure you take some time to let it sit for a little bit. All right, let's get this other one going. Let's see, how much time do I have on my battery? I might have to end this all, y'all. I got 50 minutes. Okay. I still got one viewer who's watching. Just want to say, you're awesome. Sorry, you're awesome. Oops. Now you could say that somebody sang to you on live stream because you were the one that was watching. Just doing this, heating it up like a firebender. Oh yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but look at all that chaff. It's a lot of chaff. That's why I roast outside. When I have an actual coffee roaster, there's a catch system that will catch all that chaff. Right, so let's go into town now. I'm running out of things to say. I can only talk for so long before I'm like, I have no idea what to say. I hope what we did talk about was encouraging and motivating. Yeah. Yep. Well, I think I'm gonna finish this roast, this particular bean, and then I'll let you guys go. But hey, I really appreciate you guys joining me today. If you weren't live but you're watching it a few days after, I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Again, remember to follow and set up notifications so that every time I stream, you're notified. Make sure to check out what's going on. We're brewing beer, we're roasting coffee, we're doing beer and coffee reviews, we're talking about everything that has to do with life, and we're just encouraging each other to do good in our communities, and working on creating a unity and community, and yeah, that's what we're doing. So again, follow and watch, engage, join in the conversation. Send me a whisper if you want to on Twitch. You could also join the Discord server, which is a link on my channel. You could go on that server, and we'll talk about everything: beer, coffee, and life. Talk about big ideas, small ideas, dreams, goals, passions, desires, things like that. It'd be fun to create a mastermind group where we talk about all sorts of things that we want to do. Also, if you want to be a part of choosing the next beer I brew, send your friends over, have them follow and set up notifications and become engaged in the community, and then send me in a whisper or on Twitch who you encourage to or recommended to follow my channel, and then I'll stick you on the list to choose one of the next beers that we do. Alright, you guys. that's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining. For whoever's watching right now, appreciate it. For those of you who jumped on every once in a while throughout the stream, thanks for watching and joining. Again, Discord, YouTube, Whisper, whatever. Join the conversation. Be here. Thursday the 29th, which is in a few days from now, 2 days from now. We're going to be bottling beer. I'm going to have my buddy Braden help me out with that, and that's our Southern Comfort Amber Ale. So that's going to be really good. We'll do a quick taste test before carbonation, and then we're going to bottle it, which they'll finish carbonating in the bottle. And then we'll do a final beer review on that beer. It'll be about a month or so before this German Pils is ready to go for drinking. But we're really looking forward to that when that happens. So thanks again, everybody. Yeah, that's all I got for you. Remember, be adventurous, stay thirsty, speak easy. See you all next time. Oh, it's not. It's the button's